J'ai commencé à enregistrer.
Ouais, moi aussi.
Parfait.
Wrap it up, motherfucker! C'est à la fin, ça.
How are you, Matt, today? I know we said that 30 minutes ago, but I'm still going to ask you again. How are you, Matt, today?
I'm great. I haven't did what you just did, which you would probably talk about, but I still feel super great. I like to say that I have my little mate with me. To all the Argentinian out there, I support your national beverage. I really love it. But yeah, I'm feeling super good. I had sex this morning. It was amazing, and it's hard not to feel well after that. So
Yeah.
how do you feel?
I'm good. So on my side, I have one of my favorite drink right now, which works. By the way, it works for everyone. It's ginger, fresh ginger, lemon, fresh lemon, and honey with hot water. It's kind of a infusion. So it works even for pregnant women. They can't drink tea, so I recommend that. It works for if you're nauseous or anything. It works for you. So that's my
All right.
that's my
So
medicine of the day. Natural medicine.
So today we talk about pregnant women
and natural medicine.
and natural medicine.
No, I'm great. I'm great. Yeah. To all our listeners that are pregnant, you can drink it.
I love your drink. We drink it also a lot here, me and Jamie.
It's really good. So yeah, no, I feel great. So yeah, the thing today is that I pushed myself. And I went on a run just before the podcast. Before the podcast, like quite a long time ago. And I did half a marathon.
I will act like I'm really surprised, but he told me just before we hit record. Oh wow, you did a half marathon.
Yeah, what you don't know though is that, and for people living in Barcelona, they know that I went until TB which is basically the church that is like up north in the city, and it's like in a mountain. So there is like 500 meters elevation. And so when I said that to people, they were like, "You're fucking crazy! You're fucking crazy to have done that."
Well, you are. I mean, I think my top run ever is on a treadmill, and it was about 10 kilometers. So I am totally in awe, and I praise you because you are amazing, and you got to tell me how the fuck can you do that?
So that's the thing, when I went for running, when I went for a run, I told my flatmate, I was like, oh, you know what? I want to do a 10 kilometer today. Like, I just want to run. I don't want to do anything else. And so I was running, and I arrived in Gracia, which is like a big avenue, that is on my way to run to Sagrada Familia. And I look on the left, and I see the church up there. So it's quite far away, right? because to go up there, it took me like 1 hour. So, and I look at the church, and I'm like, I should go there. You know what? I should go there. And it was hard. It was super hard, I'll tell you that. And I don't know if it's because, this weekend I was watching David Goggins, which is a fucking beast. He's a fucking beast. And, I think what he says is true, is that when you put your mind up to it, this is the way that you can accomplish stuff. Because I train, so it's not a question about, can my leg do it? Can my heart pump the oxygen for my? It's just a question of mental. It's only that. It's only motivation to go there. Only motivation to run. So yeah, this is what I can say about the beginning.
But what, like, so basically you did 5 kilometers, and then you look up to the church, and it was about another 10 kilometer back to that point that you were. So you were like, oh man, and if I go to the church, the total of my run is gonna be half a marathon. And then you decided to go.
I didn't think like that. So that's the way.
No,
The way I
what
think.
did you
No, no.
think?
So what I thought is that basically is like I arrive after 1 kilometer and a half or something like that. I see the church. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go there, but I don't know, how much time it takes because I've never been there by walk. So I start running, all the avenue and all that, and I start going through Villa de Gracia, which is a neighborhood. And I start going up and up, and I still see the church. And I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna go further and further. Reach the mountain. I still can see, like I still, I'm going up the mountain, and there is also like pride in me that is like, no, I'm just continue through, I'm gonna go through and all that. At a certain point it was so funny because I was really on a big hill with that was like doing like kind of a col in French. I don't know how to say it, like to go to the summit basically. And there was two bikes that came up and started to overpass me, and I was like, felt like shit. Like, I don't care if they're in bikes. I'm gonna go faster than them. And so suddenly I started to run behind them and be like, oh, I'm gonna get them, these motherfuckers. And I started to go past them. And I started to run, passing them, going further away from them, and I arrived like before them, like at the first like bar that was there, and they continued, and I continued also, but I was so tired because it's like, when they were on the flat, they were way much faster than me. But then afterwards it was like continuing, and I was like searching where it was, and I went through the mountain, and I saw the and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go until the observatory. This is what I wanted to do, which is before. And then I was like, no, you know what? I'm gonna go until the church. And so I go, I run that, and I continue to the next point, and to the next point, and to the next point. And I didn't think about, how much time it will take me to get there. I didn't know, how much kilometer it was. I just wanted to do it. I just wanted to go through it.
You
And the
just
funny
wanted to
part,
read the church.
I just wanted to reach there, and I just wanted to say, like, you know what? I think that's the thing, is that when I started to do it, and I was in the first, part of I think after 8 kilometers, I was like, yeah, I can't anymore. And so from that moment, it was like fighting against me. It was like, no, you can do it. I know you can do it. You're gonna do it, and you're gonna be so proud after that. It's like, you know what, enjoy the moment. And I don't know, as I said, maybe because I had David Goggins in my mind, it was like, you know what, I wanted to go even further. I want to be like, continue like this elevation and everything. I want to continue that. And so I continued until the church, and I arrived at the church. I was so happy, like I broke my arms. The thing, I stayed 2 minutes, and then I was like, yeah, but that's kind of far away from home, so what do I do now? I was like, I have no money on me. I just have my phone. I looked on Google Map, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go back by running. So I went back by running.
Okay.
And again, it was just pride that was just keeping me like continue to run. It was just
So
that.
so when was the worst? Okay, so two things. First, stop touching your mic, fucker, and when you talk. And no, I love you. And second, at that moment, so which I want to know, because I know when I run, I don't run that much, but I used to do it in the past, and when I would run, there's always a really hard moment, or like a moment where you really think, oh, that's gonna be that long, or like there's one moment that is harder than all of the other moments through your run. So which which one was for you? Was it like when you decide, okay, I'm gonna go? Or I'm really curious, because it's a half marathon. Like, it's kind of a big deal in my mind. It is.
So I didn't, as I said, I didn't plan to do half a marathon. There was multiple times, I'm honest with you. So there was a time when I reached the first, when I went through and arrived at the bottom of a mountain of. So it's already like a big hill until there, which is mostly city, going through the neighborhood in the street and all that. So it's not also the easiest on your knee and your joints and all that. So arriving up there, I was like, okay, where do I go now? How do I go up there? So this is where I was like, oh, I'm going to stop maybe and go back. And then I was like, no, I'm not there yet. So this was a point where it was like, okay, like fight against it. Then afterwards, it was like, almost arriving because I was seeing but I was not seeing where it was at all. So it was really like just going through it. And so when I started to be, maybe, I could see it, but maybe by I don't know, we say like by flying pigeon, it was like 300 meters away. Like you had to go through a lot of streets. Obviously, you're not so close. Like you're almost 2 kilometers away. And so this was another moment, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna finish by walk. So again, it takes over, and it's like, no, you're almost there. So, like you did all of that. So you look back and you see where you're coming from, because you see the city down there. You're like, yeah, I came from this middle of the city. Like I went till there. This is nothing. I can do it. And afterwards, it was just like laziness to walk. I'm honest with you. On the way back, it was like, if I go back by walk, it took me like 1 hour, 1 hour 15, 1 hour 20, something like that, to go up. A bit more, maybe 1 hour, 1 hour 30. Took me like 1 hour 30 to 1 hour 20. And so I was like, if it took me like 1 hour 20 in running, it's going to take me like 2 hours to go back. So this is the part of me that is lazy, which is like, you know what? You run faster when you walk. So just, and it's on the way down. So
Driven by the laziness. I like it.
This is what I like about sport, and this is what I like about, for me, like sport has always been like kind of competition against myself. I know like some people have other stuff, and maybe you have other stuff. So what I mean by that is the fact that when I was, for example, doing some bench press, or when I was doing something like that, I love like training at noon or at 1 a.m. approximately, because I have my morning of work. I go train, so whether I run or whatever, and suddenly like my mind becomes empty. I go in that state, in that state of flow a little bit, where I forget almost everything and I'm in the moment presence and doing what I'm doing right now. And I love, for example, the gym or things like that, because it's against yourself. And this is what I say, like some people said, oh, it's weird that you take that as a bit of meditation. And I was like, yeah, but when you have like 100 kilos on a bench press above your head, the only thing you can think about is getting up that thing. This is the only thing you can think about. You can't think about anything else. And you're pushing yourself, because it's like, no, I want one more. I want one more. I want one more. And it's always this competition against yourself that helps you push way more.
I like it. I wanted to say that we talked about, just before starting the recording, Phil told me about that the fact that he ran that half marathon, and that he wanted to talk about fighting against yourself. And I thought it was really amazing, and it's probably also how he said it. And you know what's really funny that I haven't told you before the podcast is, yesterday night I watched Fight Club. and and when you said that, I was like, oh yeah, okay, that's really good. We're definitely gonna talk about it. And then you brought David Goggins on the table. So when you bring David Goggins on the table, you're really deep into fighting against yourself. And I fucking love this man. I've watched a lot of his content and interviews. I've read his book, Can't Hurt Me. I bought the book and the audiobook, and I followed
the audiobook is better. The audiobook is so much better.
Yeah, the audiobook is just amazing. And I love the 40% rule, that it's just, I like that it's not like 50 or 60%. It's
Can you
40%.
explain the 40% rule for people that are listening?
Oh, it's really easy. It's 40. The 40% rule that he's talking about is when you think that you are to the maximum of your capabilities, and when like you really think you're gonna die on the spot, that like you just cannot go further. At that moment, you are at 40% of your maximum potential. And that's why I say I love that it's not 50 or 60 or 70%.
No, it's 40.
It's like, dude, you're thinking that you're gonna die, but you're only at 40% of what you really can do.
Yeah.
And he's proving it over and over and over again, and people are following his footsteps and are proving it also that it's not just because he's the man that can do fucking anything, that he's Superman. No, people also break their own limits, their own records, personal records, and they just go over. And when you, and that's funny because when you, I remember that I've ran thinking about David Goggins, and seriously, he's like a, he's in your head, and it's like you don't want to feel like a pussy when he's in your head. It's like, oh, no, I'm not stopping. I'm just gonna continue. Everything's fine.
No, because
All right,
it's
thanks,
exactly,
David.
it's exactly what he says. You know, he has this anecdote that he says that you know, like when he's doing, I think he's the Navy SEAL training, and he's in the water and it's super cold and all that, and they've been in the water for like 50 minutes or I don't remember, and supposedly it lasts 1 hour. And you know, most of the people are like thinking like, oh yeah, you know, it's gonna take another 10 minutes and it's gonna be over. But he says like maybe at any time they can say, oh, we take it 10 minutes more or 20 minutes more. And one of the guy like looked at him in the water and he's like, I can't believe you're not cold. And he's like, yeah, but this is your problem because you're already thinking about getting out of the water and being warm. I'm thinking, I wish it was colder. You know, I can stay here and I wish it was colder. And so it made me think, you know, when I was running, because so I had some knee problems. I had some subluxation on my right knee. And for a while, you know, it was hard for me to run. Like when I was doing a 5 kilometers or something like that, it was hurting my knee. And so I kind of had this fear coming inside me, which is like, oh, you know, my knee, it's not going to be well, blah, blah, blah. And then I thought about him and I was like, you know what? No, I've been training a lot lately, you know, that my knee can handle it. And this is why I'm saying that it's a fight against yourself, and not necessarily thinking about getting up and getting to the, you know, yeah, I looked at the church and it was kind of a goal, but it was not like, oh, I'm going to go there and I'm only like 1 kilometer away or I'm only like 10 minutes away. It's not bad. I was like, no, like I appreciated all the way up there. I looked down, I looked at the track I was going on, and it's good. It feels good. It feels good, you know. You build resilience, you build everything. And yeah, this guy is a machine. Like it's
Ah, it's no, and I really love how he describes because we're talking about fighting against yourself, and that's really what it is. And and he says you're like the slave of your subconscious. Your
mm-hmm.
subconscious know everything about you. He knows your deepest fear. He knows every fucking minute of your existence, and he knows how to control you. He just knows
Yeah.
everything. And you're like, and you think with your mind that you can some way be better than your subconscious, but you gotta always remember that you are at the mercy of something way more powerful, and it's a constant fight. It's a constant. I'm not saying you cannot beat your subconscious, because when you go past your limits, that's what you do. But it's a really powerful opponent. It's a
Yeah.
really when you take on that fight, for me, it's you got to understand how powerful it is to be kind of humble and to say, look, and to get to go and get everything out of yourself, and to say, look, I can do that, and I will do it. But at every fucking step of the way, your brain's gonna try to stop you. And
Mm-hmm.
it makes me think of another person that talks about that I really really love. It's Mel Robbins, and she wrote the book The 5 Second Rule. And basically the concept of the book is talking about the 5 second window that you have to take a decision before your brain kicks in and talk you out of it. And that's so fucking real and powerful. Let's say you're in the bed in the morning, and then you you're thinking, I should, like, I think it's time to get up, or I want to get up, or I should get up, whatever. If you don't get up in the next 5 seconds, you will hear your brain starting to give you excuses to stay in the bed.
It's warm.
It's I've tested it. The 5 second is pretty accurate. You're just thinking, and it's not, you don't think, oh, I want to get out of bed and in instant excuses. No, you have a little window, and then, oh, look, an excuse come, and but it's long. Oh, maybe I could, I don't need to
Just a little
go
bit
up
more.
this. So just so basically your brain is for some reason is trying to stop you at any decision that you take. If you don't go into action super fast, is gonna, it's like that window of freedom that you have, and if you don't use that window of freedom, you engage in a fight. It's like your brain is giving you, your subconscious is like, all right, I'm giving you 5 seconds, man, but in 5 seconds, I'm definitely gonna,
I'm gonna eat you out. I'm gonna eat you out. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna eat you out right away. But
exactly, and that.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Go ahead.
and it's true. Like it's because you have always these moments of doubts, right? Which is like, I was taking the example earlier of weight training, which is it's really simple. You start to, so you do your reps and all that, and you take more charge, and suddenly you see a chart that you're like, oh, I'm gonna try it, right? So at the beginning you're like pumped up because you're like, oh, I've been up until there, I can do at least one, right? So you put the charge on, and so you have a moment of, I don't know, like it's a moment of excitement, because you're on this journey to try it. So you're kind of your rewarding system, intrinsically, that is giving you like a bit of dopamine into that. But suddenly, like when you're starting to go under, the bench, you're putting yourself under the bar, you're starting to think, it's after these 5 seconds, suddenly it's like, I'm not going to make it. It's going to crush me. It's too light, it's too heavy, like I never did it. And you start to think about it, and suddenly like you lift it up and you're like, you're feeling like your arms are getting like wobbly, that, and and you have to, and this is why I said like I love weight training for that, because it's almost like your, how to get back your composure and saying, you know what, it's only 5 kilos different. What is really 5 kilos on 90 kilos or on 100? It's 5%. It's not, it's 5% more. So it's a lot of mental, a lot of technique, obviously. But is it really just strength? No. That's the thing. This is what it's pushing you really through that. And this is where I love, like this thing about, that was Mohammed Ali that said like, like they asked him like, how many sit-ups do you do per day? And all that. He's like, I don't count my sit-up. I only count when it starts to hurt. So I love that. It's like, you know what, I just do them, and when it starts to hurt, it's like I'm, and this is why I love Cristiano Ronaldo, or I love guys like Tom Brady or Tiger Woods, because those guys have a structure and a discipline that is just insane. I mean, I don't know, like Cristiano Ronaldo for a while he was saying that he was doing like 1,000 apps per day or something like that. When you think about it, that's insane. Obviously that's his job. Yeah, I get it. But the thing is that you need to have a mental that push you to be at that level. Otherwise, you will never make it. So you can say whatever about the guy, you can appreciate it, not appreciate it. But these guys, like the way they're on the field, I think is just how much passion and how much like investment they have in their success. And this is what is crazy about those guys.
Yeah, and you're touching something really really important, and that's funny because I really see the link with what we are talking on Naked, and what we want to talk about is exactly that. Is that you don't see all that work. You just see the match. You just see the victories, the trophies,
Yeah.
and when you think, oh, but I want to be them. I want to be able to be a soccer pro, whatever. Do you really understand what's behind? And most people don't. But it's not their fault, because you just don't see it. You don't see the everyday fight. These guys are fighter. They are mental and physical fighter, because the hardest fight you will ever have in all your life is always with yourself. It's always with your mind. And I mean, if I go on the ground right now, I can probably do, like, if I really push myself, maybe 20 push-ups in a row. All right.
But that's the thing. You see, you're limiting yourself already. When you're
I
saying
know
that, you're limiting yourself.
no,
but I'm
not.
So So if you go on the ground right now and you're going to reach 15, you're going to be like, oh no, like I can't anymore, because it's almost like 20. You know what David Goggins was saying,
Yeah,
where if we tell you do as many push-ups as you can, it's pretty sure you're going to do more than 20 without you knowing it.
you're totally right. You're totally right on that, because I remember one time in college I had to do it was a push-up competition in the how do you call that in English? Like the sport course,
Yeah.
whatever. and I beat everyone, and I think I did 70 in a row.
Wow.
And 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 even myself, I could not understand. And it was not like fake push-up. I do my push-up all the way, my chest to the ground, and I was just a beast at that time. I don't know, but yeah, you're totally right. But my point was just, let's say I do 50 sit-ups in a row. I mean, I would be crushed. My abs would be dead. And you just think, that guy do 1,000 a day? It's 20 sets of those of those 50 that I just did that just killed my abs. And you think about it every day.
Yeah,
And you
and on
don't.
top of that, you do training and all that. Like it's not like
Oh
you
yeah.
just do that. You know, it's not like.
Yeah, exactly. And what is tricky is that you look at guys like that, and yes, let's say yes, they are ripped, they have a nice body, but you cannot see on their body the mileage. You look at David Goggins, he really I've watched the Joe Rogan interview with David Goggins, and he's at some point he's like, this body has 100,000 miles of mileage and more, and he did like 50,000 or 57,000 pull-up to be able to have the world record of 4,020, something like that.
Yeah, in
These
17
numbers
hours.
are yeah. In
17
what?
hours. 17 hours, I think, is that, no? It's not
Well,
in
it was
17
on a
hours.
40. It was on a 24-hour window, but
Yeah, it's 17
probably
hours. He
did
did
it
more than
before.
4,000 pull-ups.
Yeah, it's
You're like,
when you think about it, it makes no sense in your mind. It's even not fathomable. It's like if you're thinking, oh, I have $1 billion. Well, $1 billion. Do you really, or a trillion? Like, it's really hard to understand what's that number. But in an exercise way, like, oh yeah, I've done 50,000 push-ups. What? Like it's really, and you don't see it on the body because it's not growing bigger and bigger, and you're like, oh, that, let's say a tree, you look at a tree and you're like, oh, if the tree is bigger, it's just older. There's a correlation between what happened and what you see. But on a body, you don't see it, you don't know. So most of the time you don't see the fight that's behind. That's my point.
yeah.
Why I say that is that there's fight every day and we don't see it.
So we have to talk about something else, which is vulnerability, because it has a link. It has a link. We can't talk about the fight without talking about vulnerability. This is what I love about. This is what I love about David Goggins. This is what I love about Tim Robbins. It's the way.
Who's Tim Robbins?
It's the, you know, like the speaker, motivational speaker in the US. He's also investor and all that. He does this big show, you know. He has like kind of quite a square face, and he has like.
You mean Tim Ferriss?
No, Robbins.
Tony Robbins?
Tony Robbins. Damn, why am I mixing the names? I'm always mixing the names. You see my problem with the names? I knew the guy though. I had the guy image in my head.
I was like, oh, I don't know this one. Sorry.
So Tony Robbins, sorry.
Yeah.
These guys are really, really vulnerable, but in the way that they showed themselves. You know, in his book, he tell about this story, you know, because it's true that, as you said, people were seeing the kind of finished product, if I could say. It's not really finished because he tells himself, you know, that he's still fighting and he has this discipline and all that. But people were seeing the finished product, you know, and so calling him Superman, like he was born like that. Where when you read his story, and I know last week I talked about trauma and all that, but in this case it's true, and it's a really great story because the way he talks about it is how much it affected him and how much he went through there, accepted it. You know, he said it himself. The first part was acceptance of that, and then he was like dealing with it. I'm gonna deal with my shit. and I'm going to be different. I'm going to fight against everything that happened, and I'm going to be different. And this is what you don't see. This is really what you don't see. And that's the groundwork that these guys have done. It's really something that it gives hope at the same time. So that's the cool part.
It's you know what I wanna add on that is I think is the pinnacle of that discussion really is why would you want to fight against yourself, and it's to reach greatness. But greatness is not being a millionaire. It's not being winning an Olympic medal. You can have greatness in your everyday life, and greatness is just being able to attain what you set yourself for. What's your goal? When you can attain your own goal that you really want to do, and then you attain it, that's greatness. And in the epoch that we live, with all the technologies and all those tagline of like the future is simple and everything is simpler and everything is easy, and people get so lazy. People are so fucking lazy. They the disparity between what people want and what they are willing to do is always getting larger and larger. It's like, oh yeah, I want this amazing life, but I'm just gonna watch Netflix all day. Like,
Yeah, but you're just one swipe away.
yeah, you're just one swipe away. You just one 10-step program to reach greatness. And that's the fucking problem nowadays. It's exactly that. The fight against yourself is necessary, and you should strive for it. You should understand that there are no shortcuts, really. There are some, but you should not strive for shortcuts. You're just happy to get one when you find one, but you want to go through. Like David Goggins, he was in a worse fucking shape or time of his life, and he went through with suffering and talked to and we're I like the fact that we're referring really known personalities, but it's important for me to say that it's not because they achieved things that we really think that are more amazing. Like you have the world record of pull-ups, but I really want to stress on everyday greatness of everyone can have greatness in their life if they are willing and they accept to do the work, to go and fight yourself. Just tell me, how do you feel right now after
Oh,
being able
to be honest, tired, but good.
yeah. You're tired physically, but in your mind, I mean, just before the podcast, when you said, "Hey man, you were so pumped," and said, "Hey man, I got to tell you something. I
Yeah.
just ran a half a marathon." And I could see in your face that you felt so good. I could sense the confidence. I could sense the pride. I could sense the yes, you're tired physically, but your mind is running and is really happy, and you're full of dopamine. And tomorrow, now your bar is higher.
Yeah,
So
I want to go for the next one. I'm telling you right away. I want to go for the next
yeah,
one. But this is the crazy thing, you know. I think I don't know, and I'm pretty sure you have it also, and I know some people that have it, and I'm pretty sure David Goggins had it. Is that I wonder if we are not masochists. What I mean by that is that we love. So I'm going to use a good word, and then I'm going to use a bad word. You know, we love challenging ourselves, putting ourselves in uncomfortable positions, but at the same time, it's almost like we love hurting ourselves. It's like, you know, I know that this is something that maybe I can't do, but you know what? I'm going to go through the suffering because I like that. I like the process of going through that suffering, that mental state that tells me, you know what, like I'm fighting that mental state. It's almost like we're, you know, and I mean, and I was thinking about that while I was running. So this is why I was like, because I was thinking about David Goggins, and I was like, myself, I was like, damn it, why I go through that? Why I'm doing that? You know, I don't even do that. You know, it's not a competition. It's just for myself. Nobody is watching me. Nobody cares. Like I'm just pushing myself on myself. And I was like, why are you doing that? You do that for trainings, you do that, with work, you do that for yourself. So why are you pushing that? And I thought about David Goggins and was like, are we masochists in a certain way?
But just one thing, like when you say we, who are you talking about? Because most people are not.
No,
That's
but I
even
mean,
the
we like
problem.
I talked about you, I talked about some friends, and I talked
Okay.
about David Goggins. I don't know much David Goggins, but from what I see, if you see the picture of his feet or the fact that he had, problem on his knee and all that, like you're like, you know, I mean, this guy
Yeah.
like registered to a lot of training where the goal was like beat you up.
Yeah.
Like, here, I'm here.
Exactly.
I want to get beat up,
I'm here.
please.
And that's not even the worst. The worst is he had a hole in his heart, like the
Oh
size
yeah,
of a quarter. Yeah, and he was running fucking marathons with a hole in his heart, and he had to have a surgery at some point. But yeah, uh, that's a really good question.
yeah. Are you
I
like that? So I just wonder.
I would say that, in my opinion, in my life, I am not that much a lover of pain or a lover of pushing myself through pain. But every time that I do it, I feel great. So it's like my uh, how do you say that, my basic software inside my mind would be one that I really want to avoid all of this. And I think some people, or people that their basic software is really to just go and not give a fuck, or I don't know, and go through it, and for some reason, like, you cannot compare yourself with people that are driven like that to go, because it can happen, it can trigger at some point in your mind. But we were telling it on the last podcast, we are not equal, we don't start from the same starting point.
Mm-hmm.
And some people have better mindset, have better habit, that are built because they had better parenting, or they had different beliefs or whatever, and it's easier for them to
Yeah,
go
just
through the
because
pain.
just because they have a different software. You know, two people
Yeah,
like
exactly.
two people can lose someone, death, and some people will take it as being victims, and some people will be like, no, I'm not a victim because of that. I'm going to do even more stuff. It's
Hmm.
totally a different way of seeing stuff.
Exactly.
I
But
can't I
to
can't explain the neuroscience behind that, but I know that it happens. So
well, in fact, if we touch on the neuroscience, I'm gonna tell you about. I don't know if you know about Mary Sapir. She's a really really renowned hypnotherapist in the UK. She's like, her client are all the top A-list in the world, like sports, like Olympic stars, celebrities, like even like prime minister and presidents of country or whatever. And I bought a course of her at some point, and in her hypnotherapy, she like, I don't know how to explain it. She really gives you another narrative for your brain. And basically what she says is, how you talk to your brain will determine how your brain talk back to you.
Mhm.
And I could totally see, while I was listening to that everything was just, everyone that are different, it's because they have different software. It's
Mhm.
just because they are talking to themselves in a different way. And at some point, when you talk to yourself in a way, it becomes a habit, and you don't have to do it consciously. So it's super hard in the beginning, when you're not used to go through pain, and you're not used to fight against yourself, and you're always keeping yourself small, and keeping yourself in your comfort zone. Then you got to understand that you have the habit of loving comfort. You have the habit of not pushing yourself. You have the habit of just um, giving up when it's hard. and you have to change your internal dialogue to change those habits, and it takes a lot of work at the beginning, but once how do they say that, it's first you build your habit and then your habit build you.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to put the work at the beginning. So you got to fight against yourself. You got to go and you got to understand that that fight is really, really important if you really want to achieve whatever you want to achieve.
Yeah.
Be it lose 5 pounds, be it run 3 kilometers. It doesn't matter what you want to do, but at some point, and sometimes it's just getting out of bed. If someone is depressed, the fight against themselves is to just get the fuck out of bed or stop
What
watching Netflix.
what was the name of the admiral, that did this, even did this sign and everything, like in front of everyone? You remember, like it was a speech. And I think what he says is that if you want to do something in life, the first thing that you have to do when you wake up in the morning is doing your bed.
Yeah, I don't know his name, but I've
Admiral
seen that.
something, like you remember that guy. But it's true, it's like a structure, because for me, you have to love the process and you have to bring a structure inside, a discipline inside yourself. But you have to be in love with the process. So what I mean is that I don't care that I did 22 kilometers. I don't care that I reached the church. I don't care that. What I care about is the process I went through. What I care about is how I pushed myself through the mountain. What I care about is how I pushed myself after the mountain and after the church to come back, even if I was tired, by running. Even in the last kilometer, I didn't, it was one last kilometer, but I didn't. So you have to love the process. And I think there was a research that was done, because sometimes, like, people believe it's the reward at the end that gives everything, where it's not that. I think they did a research on kids. And I remember that because it was in gamification. And they noticed that there were kids that loved so much the fact of solving problems that even if they didn't succeed in solving the problem, they had like so much dopamine, like, that was released, like just through the process of trying to solve a thing. And that's the way the brain works, is that at the beginning, it will push you. I don't remember what is the other component, which is neuroepinephrine or something like that. Anyway, it's another component that will make you stop. Where when you go through a process, basically the dopamine is like pushing that down, and it helps you like continue the work, continue the grind. And as you said, maybe instead of running 3 kilometers that time, you're going to run 4, and the next time you're going to run 5, and so on. And this is the fight against yourself that you have to wire your brain for that. And I believe, like, yeah, hypnotherapy like that could be good also.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. I recommend everyone to try, if they feel like it, try some hypnotherapy of some kind. If you, I know Mary Sapir, she gives some free masterclass. You can find that online, I'm pretty sure. Maybe if I find it, I'll put a link. But she's like one of the best. But there's a lot of, it's just to see where you can go inside your mind, and to just look at what's going on there. You just go and you're like, oh, that's the movie that's playing. That's the words that are playing in my mind. I think.
So
do
you have a, because I love that when we do that. I love that last week because it was a little bit more about anecdotes about ourselves. Do you have one anecdote about yourself when you notice that pattern inside yourself?
Which pattern?
Like, that is your software saying you one thing and you still went through it, and at the end you were kind of proud of doing it, and change a little bit for the next one.
I'm always torn also. That's funny that you said that, because in the past few months I've been more into the acceptance of my feelings and emotion, and really doing what I feel like doing, what I feel is like me. Mm-hmm. But I know it's not black or white in life. Sometimes you gotta be able to distinguish if you're beating yourself up, or if you're just trying, or if you just know that you have to go through that to reach what you want to reach. And
so how do you make the difference then?
How
do you make the difference
yeah,
for you? Tell me about you.
I would say it's a feeling. It always come back to that. It's a feeling. When, let's say, yesterday I felt, I have this pattern of feeling really overwhelmed. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say I begin to do some to-do list, and then I would do a to-do list for that project, for my personal life, for like my couple, whatever. And I have all these things I have to, I think I have to do, and then because I just write everything down, and at some point they stay in the back of my mind. And now I begin my day, and I'm like, I'm thinking, oh, I have all, I don't remember what it is, but I know I have all these things I have to do that are on my to-do list. And I feel I cannot catch up. I feel really overwhelmed. And then then I say, no, it's fine. Even if I don't feel good, I'm gonna go through that. I'm gonna fight through that feeling. And if I accomplish those tasks, I'm gonna feel well after. But then I get this feeling of really, really just I don't feel good. I don't feel good. I feel trapped in that thing, and it's really hard sometimes to describe a feeling. It's just a feeling of contraction. I feel just trapped. I feel I'm getting smaller and smaller.
You're feeling
And when I
buried.
get out of that, what?
You're feeling buried.
Yeah, buried, exactly. And when I get out of that, because I've developed some trigger to just stop being in the painting and just go outside and look at what's going on. And when I look at what's going on, I'm like, oh, I'm still doing the overwhelmed pattern. And then I just realized that I'm beating myself up for not doing those things fast enough, even if they are silly little things that are not urgent or important at all. They are in the back of my mind, and I put myself like that. So for me, it's like a feeling. But let's say if I run and I feel pain, or I feel I know I want to work, I know I want to run, let's say a 10K, and I'm at 5K, and I feel like my legs are burning, and I don't know. I'm telling myself, man, you're so out of shape. Like, don't try to don't try to run a 10 kilometers, and it's not gonna be the same feeling. It's not gonna
Mm-hmm.
be I'm not gonna feel trapped. I'm not gonna feel really bad or contracted in my chest. I'm just gonna feel at war. I'm gonna feel, oh, I'm in a situation where I have a chance to shine, or just give up. It's really, I don't really know how to explain it better than that.
No, no,
But
I kind of get it because is it kind of excuses? The
in
second
which
one
situation?
in the situation of a run. Do you
Yeah,
feel like
exactly.
it's like fake? Oh, I don't want to go run. It's too long. It's too cold. That kind of feeling.
Yeah, that's totally excuses. And I mean, I've if you want a personal thing, I've wanted to subscribe to a gym for a couple weeks now, and I still haven't done it. Why?
Because
And
excuses.
because of excuses. But I don't feel trapped or small inside because I'm beating myself up for it. No, I just feel that I'm totally not showing up for what I know would be right. I think
Yeah,
it's
this is
that.
this is this is why I'm careful with feelings because I feel people right now are too much into their feelings, and it's kind of a representation of what I don't like in the tech community, which is the snowflake.
Oh, that's funny that you.
Because like it's
That's funny
like
that you said
this
that.
snowflake, like it's just like I love it. Like my old manager used to say, like, we were in an interview, I remember that, and he doesn't like snowflake either, and he was like, I saw the snowflake coming down the sky and melting down as much as it was reaching the floor while the person who interviewed me was talking. And I laughed so much when he says that because it was perfectly a representation about how I was feeling at the time, which was like, this is where I make the difference, where for me, when you talk about feelings like being trapped and being overwhelmed and all that, being stressed, it's an answer from your body, like kind of a primal answer to what you're living right now. Where when people say, oh, I'm cold, yeah, I don't want to go, I don't know, we'll go tomorrow, they find like kind of excuses and they find like it's exactly the same thing of why you're all not, going out of bed. It's kind of the same thing.
You're so right. Where do you get that, the snowflake term?
The snowflake term. It's
Yeah.
in tech, in startups.
Man, no, that's so fucking funny that you say that, because yesterday in the movie Fight Club, that's exactly what Tyler Durden said at some point. He says, "You are not a beautiful snowflake. You're the same decaying matter as everyone else." And it's, I think he said it in another way, but that's the exact same thing. And I've seen online like a couple of days ago a
I
guy
didn't
that
even
was
know it was in
stating,
there.
yeah, and the guy that he was stating a couple of lessons for Fight Club, and one of them was exactly this one: "You're not a beautiful snowflake."
I love it. Now I can
That's
think
so
of
funny,
a Fight Club. but
man. You should
that's
listen
true.
to it.
No, yeah, but I listened to it, but quite a long time ago. But the thing is, yeah, that's the thing. It's exactly that. Is when I'm running, I feel like I'm giving myself excuses on why I should stop or why I should go back. Because I know I can go back. If I stop like midway, like at 8 or 10 kilometers, I can come back by running. I know that, but I will stop on the way because I will be like, you know what? I've done enough. Yeah, I've done enough for today.
Mm. You know what I would like to talk on the next one is about being in action, because it's really
Ooh,
linked. It's really linked to what we just said, and being in action is so powerful, and especially for overthinker. And I was an overthinker a lot. And you always
still
think
is.
that you can think your way out of a situation, or you can think always of a solution by your mental, which in fact you're just being trapped in there. And it's only by action that things move, that things change, that you go in the flow of life, and it's really by action. And I think that's really another big key of the last year I had to bring me where I am right now. When I called you, when I thought about, oh, I'd like to ask Phil if he wants to do a podcast with me. Well, I didn't think like of every fucking reason you will say yes or no. I just took my phone and I texted you, "Hey man, do you want to start a podcast?" "Yes, let's record tomorrow morning." And
But
then you
when
said,
I answered you, my first thinking was like, yeah, but we are not nobody to do that, and blah blah blah. And it
yeah,
started to do that in my mind, and I was like, no, fuck it, just do it. It
exactly.
assumes it
And
assumes
look at
that.
where we are right now. And
Yeah,
and if you would have followed your thinking and your brain, and in fact, I think I want to end on that. Your brain, you
just
cannot
before
trust
just
your
before
brain.
keep the trust your brain. Just before that, I want to say I think I found the challenge for this week for people, and
Okay?
it's your list that make me remember that, because you have to fight against yourself. What I would like is that for people, they put just one item, one thing that they have absolutely to do during the day, just one, not like 10,000, not 20, not 10, not 5, one. This is the thing they have to accomplish during the day. If they accomplish like plenty of other stuff, that's cool, but one thing, whether it's, for example, I don't know, like decluttering your place, reading a book, I don't know, sending that report, finishing that email, writing an article, whatever it is, just one per day. This is the challenge for the week. This is what I want.
Oh, for a week. That's what you mean. You
Say
mean pick
every
one.
day, one item every day to do. This is the only thing. That's the fight against yourself. To find one thing that you need absolutely to accomplish during the day.
But what if you don't have something that you absolutely have to accomplish in the day?
That's an excuse.
No,
Yeah, you certainly have
no. I'm
something.
just I'm
We
just I'm
have
just
we have plenty of stuff that we know that we don't want to do because we're like, nah, I'm gonna do that next week, and it has been there for 3 months.
yeah, I think I was just saying that because I think it was not clear enough. It's more, I think what you want to say is decide one thing that you want to do in the day and do it.
Yeah.
That's it. Like
And
it's not.
whatever it's for work or for, whatever it's for work or for personal, whether it's cooking, whether it's whatever sport, doing 10,000
Yeah,
steps, doesn't matter. Obviously, if you have work, like work is even better because it's like it's linked, and you will feel super happy with work. But it's good also if it's outside. So yeah.
yeah. And because it's gonna be a short text on the image that we're gonna
Yeah, I
put
count on
out,
you on that.
I'm gonna add I'm gonna add here for people who listen, uh, analyze the difference between when you do it as the main priority in your day and when you do it as like at the end of the day you're like, oh fuck, I haven't done my thing, and like you're trying to do it at the end of the day just to close the day correctly. But analyze how you feel when on one side, because that's a concept of eating the frog. There's a book about that, I really love it. So look at how you feel when you eat the frog the first fucking thing in the morning, and then how you feel the rest of the day. And the next day, when you decided your thing, but then life happened, and then you do all these things, and at the end of the day you're like, oh my god, I haven't done my thing. And then how you feel, and then when you do it, or if you don't do it, maybe you won't do it. I think that's the exercise, is to see
Yeah.
how you feel and to understand the difference between how you do this thing, this challenge.
Yeah, totally.
um,
And
and I
so
love I love this challenge.
how you want it to finish. So the way you treat the brain.
Oh, I just wanted to say that you have to go from the, how can I say that correctly? You have to understand that you cannot trust your brain to bring yourself on a autopilot mode to where you
No.
want to be, because it's just backward. In fact, if you really think about it, the logic is you are where you are because of the actual software in your brain.
And
It's
because of
you.
the influence that you had. We talked again about that, but
Oh
it's
yeah, yeah,
also
yeah,
because of the
yeah.
people
But
around.
it's not important. My point is just your brain is running an
Yeah.
equation, and your actual life, is the answer to that equation. So there's no way that by itself it would change the equation to
Mm-hmm.
bring you another outcome.
Yeah.
So you have to not trust your brain to tell you the right thing for your future you that you want to be. You can trust him to tell you, oh yeah, you got to do that today, or your life is that now, but not if you want to change and you want to evolve in something else. You cannot trust that your brain's not going to turn and like, oh yeah, I'm so tired of doing what we always done, let's just do something else. No, you got to fucking push him, you got to fight him, you gotta tell him, man, we are changing. Like something is changing in your and I don't fucking care if you're happy or not with that. I know
Yeah.
you want to keep me in my security. I know your brain main purpose is to keep you alive. So everything that's gonna threaten you in some way, because a fear and anxiety in your brain
Mm-hmm.
is like threatening you. So anything that pushes you out of your comfort zone, your brain is like, no, 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 no. My purpose is to keep you alive, and that I think I can sense. I can sense some threat there. So let's not go there. So at any moment that you want to go out of your comfort zone, you gotta go from the premise that you cannot trust your brain. You
Yeah.
can just be conscious, and in fact, you have to be more and more conscious and not let your subconscious run the show.
And just
And
and just for
that was
everyone,
my
like,
point.
because we're a creator of habits, as you just explained. To create a new habit in your life, it takes approximately 62 days. So don't think that it happened from one day to another. It takes time. Takes time.
Yeah,
But if you go through it, you will
yeah.
see a reward. This is
Sometimes
what I can tell you.
I'm gonna tell something about the movie yesterday, Fight Club. Sometimes you gotta punch yourself in the face. That's it. You get sometimes. Yeah. So that said,
Thanks a
another
lot.
nice discussion, my friend.
Another nice discussion. It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. Can't believe that it's already finished. I'm honest with you. It
Man,
just goes so quick. Like it's crazy. Like I can't believe
to,
it's already like 1 hour.
man,
I just
it's almost an hour and 12. That's a lot. I mean, here
yeah.
maybe,
We
but yeah,
studied a bit. Yeah, we studied a bit. But yeah, it's great.
the first 24 minute, when I saw that it was 24 minutes, I just, in
You
my
blanked
mind, it
out.
was 1 minute. Yeah, it was a
That's great.
blink.
That's great. Just blink.
Yeah.
Thank you, and I'll let you finish as usual because I love it.
Oh, but now you're
Yeah, it
telling
doesn't
it in
matter.
the
I don't
pre-made
care.
outro.
I don't care. It's like I don't care. I tell you, I don't care. I just love you doing it each time. Pumps me up also, so just do it.
All right. Well, even if you gotta punch yourself in the face sometime, and even if you gotta fight your brain, you also gotta remember to be yourself and have fun.
Yay.
See you next week, man.
See you next week.